Starting again sounds all exciting, moving abroad, but there's a reality that nobody talks about. There's one thing that is the hardest part, and it's not what you think. Moving to a new area has really got me having feelings that I got when we first moved to Spain. There's three things that everyone that moves abroad, not just to Spain, anyone that moves anywhere, you will all go through these three things. The first one is the euphoria of getting away from the life that you had before, moving to it, the excitement of moving to a new place, the excitement of waking up every day and the sun beating down on your face. Sun beating down on your face, and and it's a new start. But when that wears off, and it eventually does do, and it's the reason that I'm talking about this is, in fact, we've been speaking to people through social media that are struggling right now. And I'll be honest, after 5 years of living in Costa Blanca, this is a big change moving down here. It is like starting all over again. I knew people in Torrevieja, I knew people in Playa Flamenca, I knew people in Cabo Roig, I knew people in Catral, I knew people in Almarade. You know all these people in different places. And yes, predominantly through work. And then when you move somewhere else, you are basically starting again. And woe be little me for I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm just explaining the emotions that everyone goes through, and you will go through. Doesn't matter if you're moving to Spain, doesn't matter if you're moving to Thailand, you will go through all these feelings. And the first one is the euphoric, loving being next to the sea, loving being next to the beach, and the life that brings you. But that soon fades. And when it does, something hits you with a big bang. If you've ever moved, if you've ever started over again, you will understand this video. If you're thinking about moving abroad, if you're thinking about moving somewhere new, not even just in moving different countries. I mean, you'll get like this if you move different cities. It's a thing that everyone will go through. This is the part that everyone underestimates, absolutely everyone. And this is where people start, the regret kicks in, the regret of moving, the regret of not having friends that you once had, the regret of not being able to speak the language, and there's all these kind of regrets that come in wherever you move to. And the one thing that I do get, that people move at different stages of their life. If you're retired and you're moving area, if you're moving to a new country and you're retired, you can fit in and live the expat life, but you go through the holiday mode. The first year, first 6 months, everyone goes through it. You're in, especially if you move to Spain, because you're thinking of when you used to come on holiday, and you may drink too much, you may go out too much, you may eat too much, you may put on a little bit of weight, you might be over exuberant in everything that you do. But then you have to realise that you're actually living here, and you need to start living the life like the locals. And then you go through the struggles of missing mates and missing people. And one of the hardest questions that you ever get asked when you move abroad is, when you're coming home? When you're coming back to see us? And then you've got to go back to the UK like it's some kind of holiday, when it's not. It's far from it. And then you go through a period where, you want to go on holiday. And you think, well, people say to you, but you live in Spain. And that's like saying, well, you live in the UK. Why don't you holiday in the UK? It's crazy, isn't it? And I think when you start, when I say you miss friends, you miss people that you grew up with. You miss people that you can just pick up the phone and say, fancy a pint. You can do that here. But, you miss people that you can just pick up conversations that you had a couple of weeks ago. You just pick up from that, where you don't have the same kind of connections as what you had back home, or what you have back home. in Scotland. It's not home though, is it? It's not home anymore, because I've been here for going on 6 years now. So what I'm trying to say is everyone will go through these emotions. They'll go through these 3 phases. Phase 1 is the euphoria. You've done it. You know, you're living the best life. If you're of working age, you know, hopefully that you've managed to get a job or you're working away and that's keeping you busy. But it also keeps you from thinking about people that you miss, which is natural. It's a natural stage. And then you'll go through the second stage, which is pretty much, have I done the right thing? And we've been speaking to a lot of people over the last month or so that are currently going through the regret stage. You know, they've moved into their property and they're not settled yet. They don't have a group of friends where they can just, you know, just say, oh, do you want to catch up tonight? Do you want to catch up? Do you want to do something? Which is always hard when you move to an area if there isn't a big working population. And then after that you get settled and you think, you know, they say that there's sort of 3 main stages. You get past the first year, there's every chance you'll make it. If you get past the 3rd year, there's every chance you'll stick around to the 5th year. The 5th year is the big one, because that's where you start missing people. And we've spoke to people about the whole grandkid situation. You know, you miss grandkids growing up. But then you have to ask yourself, well, how much would you actually see those grandkids when you were there? We've got people that their children rely on them for sort of babysitting duties, for, you know, everything that entails. Can you look after the kids today? To be honest, I kind of feel as if I'm missing out on that side of it with the grandkids. And that's pretty hard as well. So it is something to think about. Because I know that there's a lot of people that are watch this channel that are thinking about moving abroad, that are of retirement age. Retirement age is a great time to do it. But people that do it younger go through these emotions as well. People that are having to work abroad go through it. I've got a mate who's in Australia just now, and he gets asked all the time, when you're coming back, when you're coming back. And he's like, I'm living and working in Australia. I don't know, he's living his best life. But he's young. But people keep on saying to him, yeah, no, you've done it now, you've done it, when are you coming back here? And it plays on your heartstrings more than anything. And I think that's one of the hardest feelings that you'll go through. People don't understand how much that plays on you, especially when it comes to family that are maybe getting older, maybe when it comes to grandkids and stuff. In this guy's situation, as in ours, our parents are getting older, so it makes you think to yourself, you know, should we start going home a little bit more often to see our parents, because they're not going to be here forever and you will miss them, and you do miss them. And you think to yourself, you know, life's all about making memories. It's all about making memories, and you've not got a lot of time. It's what you do with your time. So that's just a thought of the day. A reality check. Yes, I'm missing people. Yes, I'm finding it strange that it feels like I'm starting all over again. But we're not. Karen's going through the exact same. You know, it does feel like we're starting all over again. And we knew this. We knew we would go through this feeling. We knew we would go through this process. Moving away, 5 hours away from where we had spent 5 glorious years. We loved where we were. But it wasn't this Spain that we had dreamed of. You know? Anyway. Hasta luego.